In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 powerful ways you can get way, way more out of your days. If you start getting more out of your days, then you're going to actually start creating enormous results in your life, because there's a great quote from James Allen. He said that we do not attract what we want, but what we are. And so these 3 principles are going to change who you are. They're going to change how you approach your days, such that you have much higher vision and expectation and approach in your days. It doesn't mean you're actually doing a lot more. It just means that with your time, you're a lot better. So principle number 1 is actually making and keeping commitments to yourself. This starts the night before. Most people, when they're going to bed, they're scrolling. Over 90% of people, and this is according to research, are staring at their phone right before bed. This is obviously bad for your sleep. It's bad for your subconscious. Instead, what you want to do is you want to have just a simple 3 to 5 minute review session. Have your phone on airplane mode. Give yourself space. Actually, you need to be disciplined and committed to getting really good sleep. And getting really good sleep is going to set you up for having better and better days. It's also going to train your brain and your subconscious to help you achieve your goals faster, because your subconscious and your brains and your memories, those things all do their most important, powerful work while you're asleep. So what you do right before sleep and right after sleep has an outweighed effect on everything in your life. So right before bed, take some time to review your day, 3 to 5 minutes. Just review your progress on what went well. Be honest, have a self-evaluation, but also track your progress. You train your brain what to look for. Whatever you focus on expands. And so look for the ways in which you made progress towards your goals. Look for the ways in which you grew and you changed and you became better. Think about how you're a different person now than you were at the beginning of the day because of what happened and what you learned. You get to define the meaning of your experiences. And so if you just do a little review session where you reflect on your progress, reflect on what Dan Sullivan would call your gains, but also be honest in your self-evaluation about where you could have been better, what you could have learned. Then make a plan, make a commitment about who you'll be and what you'll do the next day. Just write down 1 to 3 things max. You don't want to have 10 things on your to-do list, because according to the 80-20 principle, if you have 10 things on your to-do list, only 2 of those things matter. Only 20% of what you do is going to create all of your results. And so rather than going for lots of stuff, rather than going for quantity and busyness, you want to go for quality and impact. You want to go for flow and progress, not busyness and essentially being on the hamster wheel. Think about what is the absolute most powerful, most important thing that you could do the next day that would make progress towards your future self. This could involve some deep work, working on a project. It could involve making power moves, actually like going for no. Going for no is a concept of like actually making intense moves and like striving for getting rejected, having a growth mindset and being okay seeking opportunities and being rejected. You could also think in terms of your personal life, recovery flow, where you're connecting with your loved ones, thinking about key relationships that if you had made that connection. So just think about and write down 1 to 3 things absolutely that you want to accomplish that would be powerful progress towards your future self. These are things that are important, but not urgent. They're things that are not on your schedule necessarily, unless your schedule looks like your future self, which most people's doesn't. But if you start to orient your schedule so that it looks more and more like your future self, where you're focused on future-based dreams and opportunities and key relationships, then it'll be really powerful. So making and keeping commitments to yourself starts the night before. You visualize who you're going to be. Part of visualization is visualizing the goal of where you want to be in the future, but it's also about visualizing the process. And so you can make a commitment about 1 to 3 absolutely powerful, important, intentional, and conscious things that you can do the next day. Then you can visualize yourself actually going through with it, going to bed, sleeping deeply, waking up, getting up, and then going through the process of becoming your future self, being your future self, doing what you truly want to do and keeping your commitments. As you make and keep commitments to yourself on a high level, you'll be achieving more and more each day, because you'll actually be being intentional with the day. And you'll make a commitment and you'll learn how to keep it, which will increase your integrity. And that actually takes me to principle number 2, which is raising the floor on what you can actually achieve in a day. Our floor is pretty much our baseline. It's the low level. So most people have low expectations for what they can achieve in a day, but you want to raise the floor on what you can do in a day. So as an example, if you're a writer, a lot of people, their expectation is maybe they can write like 300 or 400 words a day on their book. But what if you got to the point where you raised the floor and you maybe were writing 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 words a day? This is just raising the floor on what you think you can do, raising your expectation, but also raising your commitment. And again, this isn't about volume. It may be about impact. It may be about your ability to focus and do something for longer than you thought. Maybe it's going to the gym, and rather than being there for 15 minutes, you're there for 30, or rather than going to the gym and doing a mediocre workout, you raise your floor on what you can do. So this is about actually expanding your vision and your commitment for what you can do in a single day. You can squeeze a lot of juice out of 24 hours. No person's 24 hours are the same. Your 24 hours is not the same as my 24 hours, because you may actually have a much higher floor in terms of your day and what you expect. Whereas maybe I do a few things and then I'm like overly satisfied and then I just distract myself for the rest of the day and I'm super satisfied with pretty much doing nothing. So you want to raise the floor on what's possible in a 24-hour period of time, because the truth is that time is non-linear. Time is qualitative. It's not quantitative. The Greeks called this kairos time versus chronos time. If you view time chronologically and just basically as quantitative, like minutes and hours, then you might be trying to crunch as much into those minutes or hours as you can, or you might just be on the hamster wheel. But if you look at time qualitatively and in what they would call kairos time, that means that this moment, this day is radically different than any other day. This is the opportune moment. This is the moment. And if you can be intentional and powerful, you can make rapid leaps every day. You can approach each day like it's a year or its own entity, and it doesn't match any other day. So this day could truly be life-changing. You could learn something this day or connect in a certain way or overcome some obstacle. This day you can do phenomenal things, and it's raising your floor on what you can actually experience, grow, achieve, learn, expand in a single day. And that's in terms of you approaching the day, but that's also in terms of what can actually be achieved, what can be learned, what can be accomplished. Rather than thinking linearly, you start thinking non-linearly. Maybe you come up with this different strategy or you reach out to some person. I'm not really sure what would happen, but if you're expanding your mind and you're expanding your vision and you're raising your floor on what you can do, you start to realize you've been playing really small and you've had really low standards and really low expectations for yourself, and your days haven't been that effective. And so you can raise your floor and you can do and have enormously more in a single day. The third one is about being a lot more intentional with time and viewing time with a lot more value. So for example, if you have an hour of free time, most people will waste that hour. Even if you have 15 minutes of free time, most people will waste that time because they don't value that time. And so when you have a chunk of time, call it an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or even just 30 minutes, rather than having really low floor for that and just burning through it, ask yourself, what would be of most use to my future self? So for example, if you have an hour, what could you do during that hour such that your future self will benefit from that hour for a long time? It could be going to the gym, but it could be sitting and reading. It could be reaching out. It could be sending a few emails. It could be sitting down in your book. Whatever it is, doing what your future self would love you to do at that time that would have the most leverage and impact. A lot of things are not worth your time. A lot of things, if you sit and actually, certain activities, and this is something I learned from Seth Godin and others, certain activities pay you for the rest of your life to do them. As an example, whenever I sit and write and work on a book, I'm paid for that for the rest of my life. I've written multiple books. And so the hours that my past self spent writing those books, I'm continuing to benefit from those over and over and over again. So what can you do during that hour or that day or even that 15 minutes that will be of most use and of most benefit and of ongoing benefit to your future self? And sometimes you get caught in the busyness of the day, and it's good to actually step back, connect with yourself, pull out your journal and reset and just say, look, I was a little busy. I got caught up. I've got 30 minutes. What would be of most use? What would be of most value? What could I do right now that my future self would be insanely happy I did it not only in 30 minutes, but next week and the week after that? You can do things that continue to pay you and create very huge ongoing value. And if you approach your days like that, if you approach your time like that, then you will continuously have better and better days. Hope that helps. My name is Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Please like this video. Please apply these 3 principles for better and better days. And I hope you have an amazing day. Talk to you later.